Wow. Alabama versus Georgia. Can you say game of the year already in September? Guys, what did we just see on Saturday night? I'm just going to break down real quick my instant reaction of that Alabama-Georgia game. That was absolutely wild. Totally did not go how I thought it was going to go as far as the score goes. If you guys follow the channel, you saw my video the other night. I broke down the Bama-Georgia game and told you who I think was going to win. A free bet that I gave you guys, as well as a couple player props. I was dead wrong on the player props, guys. I thought this was going to be low scoring, and I took Beck on the under. I took Milroe on the under on passing yards, and that could not have been more wrong. But one thing I told you guys was Alabama money line, and I could not have been more right on that one. I know everybody thought Georgia was going to win that game. The money was all on Georgia. Everybody thought the Bulldogs are going to go undefeated again. They've won 34 straight regular season games. Well, guys, Alabama is for real. And after breaking down the game, go check out that video. It was, I believe it was on Wednesday that I put it out. Maybe it was Thursday. Go check it out. I broke it all down. Alabama is for real. All the money was on Georgia. If you guys know, if you follow my channel and you know anything about sports betting and what we're doing here, well, first of all, we're winning with this strategy. And second, when all the money is on one side, on the spread and on the money line, Vegas is not going to lose that bet. Okay? They're setting it a specific way so that people bet a specific way so that they can cash out in the end. They're making that line juicy and asking people to take one side by making it juicy enough. Well, that's what they did again here. And we went with Bama based on the data, based on the numbers, based on what we're seeing, not with our hearts, but with smart sports betting. And that's why we won this pick again. Alabama money line. That cashed for us. Hopefully you tailed. If not, you still got to see a damn good football game. Cheers, real quick. It's coffee time. Wow. Let me just kind of go over my reaction of this football game. What did we see? We saw Carson Beck, for one portion of this game, look like he's nowhere near a Heisman-type quarterback that everybody thinks he is, that everybody thought he was at the beginning of the season. And for a second half of football, for a totally different portion of that game, it was like night and day. He looked like every bit of that Heisman quarterback that everybody thinks he is, and that he will probably end up being a finalist in New York by the end of the season, if he continues to play how he did for part of that game. Which Carson Beck is the real Carson Beck? That we don't know. We saw him struggle against Kentucky last week. I think he threw for 160-something yards, if I remember correctly. Georgia almost lost that football game. And then we saw him struggle against Alabama for a whole half of football. We don't know which Carson Beck is the real Carson Beck. I was not impressed with him last year. Don't get me wrong. He's a good quarterback, but I didn't think he was as good as people were making him out to be, where he's up there being projected as the #1 overall pick in some people's eyes next year. I think hands down that's Travis Hunter. Let's not talk about quarterbacks going #1 overall, because Travis Hunter is the #1 overall pick. Best college football player probably since Jim Thorpe, and that's not an exaggeration. The dude's incredible. Shadur's going to be in that conversation based on the name, and the dude's a damn good athlete, damn good quarterback, pocket passing quarterback. Quinn Ewers is going to be in that conversation. And then the other guy people are talking about is Carson Beck. I don't think he's a top 5 NFL quarterback at this point. I do think he has the talent and ability to become that. But we'll see. We don't know which version of him we're going to get right now. Then on the other side, you got Alabama. My goodness, for a half of football, they looked like nobody could beat them, and that they're going to run the tables and go win the national championship. Then they started to struggle. Keep in mind, Georgia's a damn good football team. So when I say struggle, I mean Georgia just started to come alive. And when I say struggle for Georgia this first half, same thing goes for them. Alabama's a damn good football team. Nobody saw that coming. I took Bama money line, and I did not see them going up 28-0 to start that football game. That was unbelievable. And then when I say Georgia struggled last week against Kentucky, they are a damn good football team as well. They're going to be in the top 25 when the AP poll is released on Sunday. They almost beat Georgia, lost to them by 1 point. Then they go and they beat Ole Miss, number 6, last night. Kentucky might be for real. They're not going to be a national championship contender, in my opinion. They may be, who knows. But in my opinion, they're not going to be a national championship contender. They could go run the table. They could go beat Texas later on this season and end up in the SEC championship and make the playoff. Who knows what we're going to get out of Kentucky. They've been a surprise for everybody so far to this point. Don't overlook them. But back to Georgia and Alabama. My goodness, guys. These are two really good football teams. Right now, my top 5, if I was running the AP poll and it was all up to me, so this is my top 5. Texas, because I don't think they did anything to fall out of number 1 spot. They went into the week at number 1. They handled Mississippi State, and I don't think they deserve to drop because of it. Number 2 is going to be Ohio State because they didn't do anything to fall below Alabama. So they're going to move up to number 2. Number 3 is going to be Alabama. They showed out. Jalen Milroe looked like the best athlete on the field, and he might be the best athlete on that field. Ryan Williams was unbelievable as well. So Alabama, number 3. Tennessee is going to move up to number 4 in my top 5. And I know some people are going to be mad at me for saying this, but Georgia's number 5. I think Georgia's still number 5. I know Miami should probably jump up there into number 5 because they are still undefeated in the ACC, but they almost lost to Virginia Tech. They were an 18.5 point favorite that almost lost. So the way Georgia played against Alabama, that game, like I said, was unbelievable. They're only going to drop to number 5, in my opinion. Miami almost losing that game. It's kind of like Florida State last year. Florida State did not deserve to be in the playoff. They play in a weak conference compared to the SEC, Big Ten, Pac-12 last year. Pac-12 was really good last year, and the Big 12. The ACC is the weakest of the bunch. And Miami, although a great football team, they are going to make the playoff this year. Almost blew it to Virginia Tech, so I don't think they deserve to jump. Georgia losing to Bama in that fashion holds more weight to me than Miami barely beating a Virginia Tech team that's not so great. So that's my top 5, guys. That's kind of just what I wanted to get on here and say, is break down that game a little bit. Kind of the instant wow reaction of how good that football game was. The fireworks that we saw, the display of talent on that field. Unbelievable matchup. We might see them match up again later on in the season. Now that Georgia versus Texas game becomes even more anticipated in my eyes, at least. I cannot wait to watch that game on October 19th. It's going to be wild. Texas, number 1. I believe they'll stay number 1 after, like I said, they didn't do anything to fall out of number 1. They do play Oklahoma next week. That'll be a tell on if Texas is for real, for real. They took the boots, or they took the boots to Michigan already. So they have played a good ranked team. I don't think Michigan is what they were last year. We all know that. But that should be an incredible, fun game to watch. I cannot wait to watch that one. Then Alabama, guys, they just showed us that they're still Alabama without Nick Saban. Kalen DeBoer is an amazing coach. They do have a bit of a grind coming up, though. Alabama has Tennessee on October 19th, the same day Georgia plays Texas. That's 2 top 5 matchups we're going to get. More than likely, if Georgia stays top 5. 2 top 5 matchups on October 19th. That game is going to be crazy. Next week we have Ohio State versus Oregon. That game is going to be crazy when Oklahoma and Texas play in the same week. Guys, this college football season is going to be incredible. I'm already excited. It's been crazy in September so far. Let me know what you guys think. You think Bama's a better football team than Georgia, or do you think they just played better last night? I don't know if I can say either way. If I could say either football team is better. Bama won the game, obviously, at home in Tuscaloosa, and they absolutely dominated Georgia for a half of football. But Georgia showed grit and toughness. They showed that they're still Georgia. Came back, actually took the lead for 13 seconds, but they did take the lead. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, guys. And hopefully you tailed that pick, Alabama money line. Wow, that was a fun one to watch. You guys can tell I'm a big football fan, and that was a classic, instant classic football game. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.